So this kind of question, this is question 5 of practice test 1, and this is very similar to the one you'll have to do on your test. So what we have here are two columns. We have reaction time in seconds, and then we have the concentration of A in molar. Now what we can do here is refer to our table here, where we know that if we have a graph of time versus A, and it's a straight line, it's going to be 0 order. A graph of time versus log of A is a straight line, it's going to be first order. And a graph of time versus 1 over A is a straight line, that's going to be second order. So you can see here that in each instance this is y equals mx plus b, and that's the kind of form y mx plus b. This is the y and time is the x. So in each instance we have the y value as being A, here it's log of A, and here it's 1 over A. So what that means is, for the problem that we're doing, we're going to need to add a couple of columns here and then put in some values that match those. So over here, this column here, I'll extend this out. And over here we'll have the natural log of A, and over here we'll have 1 over A. So I'm going to put these values in here. I'm sorry, they're going to be a little bit small, but you should still be able to see them. So did we get negative 1.14 here? We get negative 1.80 here. We get negative 2.27 here. And we get negative 2.53 here. Now understand that I get these values simply by plugging these into the calculator and taking the ln of that number. So I put in 0.320 into the calculator, I hit the ln button, and then it comes out with this number. 1 over A, likewise, 1 divided by, 1 divided by, 1 divided by A, 1 divided by A. And that's how I get these values here. 3.13, 6.06, and 9.70, and 12.5. So these are the corresponding values that we have for A, ln of A, and 1 over A. So what we're going to do is determine which of these would come up to be a straight line. Now whenever we do a graph, if it's a curve, what we know is that if I was to find the slope between these 2 points and between these 2 points, it would be different. That's how I'd know it was a curve. Now if it's a straight line, then what's going to happen is that the slope between any of these points should be pretty much the same, or very close to being the same. It might not be exactly the same because they might not all be exactly on the line, but whatever was closest to each other, that would be definitely a straight line. Now when you're doing this, I find that the biggest differences, if it's a curve, would be between the first and second, the slope between the first and second point, and the slope between the first and the last point. That's what I would recommend you go with. And that will allow you to figure out which one is a straight line. So you can use any 2 points you like, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to go with the first 2 and the first and last point. So when I'm doing this, I do for 0 order. That would be for the A column here. And I'm going to find the slope between the first and second point, which is going to be the change in y over the change in x. Remember, this is going to be the y-axis here. In all cases, that'll be the y-axis. This will be the x-axis. Now, slope is going to equal change in y over change in x. So if we do the 0 order here, we'll do 0.320 minus 0.165 That's over 0 minus 11.4. That's going to give me a value, and then so these values here, you can see the 0.32 and the 0.165 here, and that's over the 0 minus the 11.4 here. And then I did 0.320 minus 0.0800 here, 0 minus 36 here. Now this comes out to be negative 0.0579 and negative 0.0386. So those two values are not the same, so that must be a curve, so I don't think it's zero order. Now I do the same thing for first order, and then I'll find also that they're not the same. So I'll go ahead and do second. I won't show you the first order, it's done pretty much the same way as I did the zero order though. But for second order, the math goes like this: 3.13 minus 6.06 over 0 minus 11.4. That comes out to be 0.257. And the other one, 3.13 minus 12.5. And that's going to be over 0 minus 36. That comes out to be 0.260. As you can see, these two values are fairly close together, so I would choose second order as being the answer to that problem.